This is your 2020 Ford Escape Hybrid. Now, I've done a full review on the non-hybrid a couple of months ago, so this is going to be a video on the highlights of the hybrid. So your only exterior difference is there's a little hybrid badge on the bottom right of the tailgate. There it is. This one's spec'd with all-wheel drive. You can also get it with front-wheel drive. I'm going to open up the trunk, and interestingly, Ford has not compromised any of the cargo space. So I'll put your cargo figures on that part of the screen. It's exactly the same. Seats up, seats down. Well done, Ford, on that side for not compromising any kind of cargo space. The battery, which is about the size of a suitcase, and it's a 1.1 kilowatt per hour battery, it's underneath the rear seats and underneath there as well. So you lose a tiny little bit of seat space for your rear passengers, but it's barely enough to notice, and I didn't notice it myself. So well done there, Ford, for making a vehicle that's not completely different dimension-wise with its hybrid versus non-hybrid. There is a power flow setting in your apps. So from the home screen, hit apps, you hit power flow, and it outlines exactly where the power is coming from, your regen brakes, as well as your hybrid driving. So right now, just got the car going, doing about 15, 16 kilometers an hour. And because it's blue, it says electric driving, and that's how you know exactly where your power is coming from. I want to put a little bit of weight onto the gas pedal. It's a pretty quick and quiet and seamless transition from electric only to hybrid driving. So now you can see the gold engine up front, putting power into the wheels as well as into the battery. It says hybrid driving. My foot's off the brake. You can see right down there, there's nothing happening. And it says regen braking. It should say coasting, but regen braking is good enough. So now the power of the wheels, taking it to the battery, come to a stop, and then we'll get going again. And again, you'll always know what you're doing and where the power is coming from. So right now I'm in the hybrid driving mode because my foot's on the gas pedal a little heavier, and I'm going to take it off as I just kind of coast through a little bit. And now it says regen braking. So I'm going to put my foot on the brake itself and increase the amount of power going back from the wheels / brakes into the battery. So now I'm set for electric driving. I do have the fan on, and at some points it'll say the engine is on due to movement or due to the heater setting. I want to put the heater off, and now it says engine on due to normal operation. So you've got to be a little light-footed to really make the most of this, and that's kind of good for city driving. Let's take a look at the dashboard and what happens when you drive and stop the 2020 Ford Escape Hybrid. So I'm at around 33 kilometers now, and I'm going to gently ease onto the brake to bring the car to a complete stop. And there's a brake coach in the middle, and the brake coach says 100% of the energy has been returned. So nice and slow and gentle, and that's how you maximize your power out of the hybrid. So let's bring it up to 33 again. Let's push on the brakes a little harder, actually a lot harder. And the brake coach says 64% of the energy returned. So as you can see, the harder you push, the lower your score and the less efficient your battery regenerative power is. So I also want to show you what happens at the end. I'm going to stop the car and put it in park. Let's put the car off. So out of the 2.6 kilometers I've driven, 1.5 been electric. I've got a 10.9 liter per 100 kilometer fuel consumption, and it's taken me 21 minutes and 14 seconds. These numbers are a little bit skewed only because I'm doing a video. There's lots of stops and starts. But what you'll see when you actually do a proper drive, you know, whether you've got a set destination or a few different destinations, that figure for you will be a lot more relevant as opposed to the 21 minutes to go 2 kilometers. So as far as fuel consumption for me and my week with the car, I've driven a total of 339.8 kilometers as of right now. 149.2 of those have been electric kilometers. So not quite half, a little less than half. So not too bad. And I've got, I don't know, 54% of the fuel left in the tank. It's just a touch over half. So let's get into some interesting figures. 53.8 liters. The Government of Canada fuel efficiency figures are 5.5 for the highway, 6.3 city, and 5.8 combined. So that means with my basic math skills, you can do about 927 kilometers on a full tank of gas based off these figures. Now, again, I've done 340. The gas meter says I can do another 407. So that would put me at 740-ish. But then again, I could end up driving on a lot of flat roads. I could do a lot of city driving, and by that, I could really maximize the hybrid power. You're not really missing out on anything because, as far as trim goes, the Escape Hybrid is only offered in the top trim titanium. As of today, it's March 8th, 2020. So you have all the bells, all the whistles, and the sunroof's a little extra. The heads-up display is a little extra. But you still get the Ford, a bunch of safety features out of Ford. You get a good, comfortable set of seats. You get tons of cargo space. And it's really not bad for the price. And pricing is, again, as of today, prices can change at any given time. $36,549, and then you add plus. Quick note on when you're in reverse, you'll notice that the Escape Hybrid makes this sound. And that's because it has to make some kind of sound because you cannot reverse silently. Driving impressions for the 2020 Ford Escape Hybrid are pretty good. It still handles and feels like a traditional combustion engine, but it's a hybrid. And you know, there's times where I've forgotten that I'm driving a hybrid, primarily because the switch between using the battery and not using the battery has been so quiet and seamless. And you know, don't get me wrong, you can still hear it and you can still feel it under your right foot and throughout the vehicle, but as far as an intrusive sound and that jarring movement, it is very, very minimalized. One thing I didn't touch on in the previous part of the video that I want to touch on now is the L mode on the gear shifter, and then L stands for low. And it doesn't quite get you one pedal driving. That's more of a hybrid, or sorry, a plug-in hybrid vehicle piece of technology. But just kind of keep an eye on what's happening outside as far as how fast I'm going. I'm going to put it into L now, and my foot's off the brake pedal, and you can see things really, really slowing down. This isn't me doing any braking. This is the vehicle doing the braking, and it'll eventually completely stop, but not as quickly as a plug-in hybrid vehicle goes. So I'm still doing 7 kilometers an hour, and it's slowing down and slowing down. But let's get going again. So if you're in maybe heavier traffic, put it in L and make the most out of the engine braking, and that gives you the most amount of regen power in the shortest amount of time. Ford's Copilot 360 is really, really nice, and that gives you adaptive cruise control, lane centering, blind, I almost got that, lane centering, blind spot monitoring, cross traffic alert, autonomous emergency braking, as well as your automatic high beam. You get the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen, almost messed that up, system. As part of it, heated steering wheel and heated seats. Basically everything you get on the titanium trim for the gasoline version is transferred over here. That's going to wrap the review up. If you have any questions on the 2020 Ford Escape Hybrid, let me know in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the support. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be back sooner than later with my next car review.